We got a question here. How do I get clients to sign the written service agreement? Okay, let me, I'll go ahead. Well, I'll answer that one while we still got more people tuning in before I jump back into this YouTube channel here. But as far as getting them to sign the written service agreement, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by service agreement. If you're talking about the listing agreement or the buyer's representation agreement, I mean, there's different strategies to each one. As far as if it was like a buyer's agreement that you're trying to get them to sign, I typically will go out and meet with them at usually if we want to go see a set of properties, I will go show them one set of properties without having them sign the written buyer's agreement. And here, I'll go ahead and let me add that to the broadcast there. And so, that's typically what I'll do there. I'll put it on my default there. And I'll take them out, I'll show them a set of properties, but then I typically will say, hey, look, after this first tour, for us to continue going on more property tours, I'm going to need you to sign this buyer's representation agreement. It basically just, protects both of our interests. And I let them know that, hey, if at any time I'm not doing the amount of work that they're expecting, not living up to their expectations, they can cancel the agreement and we can move our separate ways. They won't owe me anything. I'm very relaxed, very chill on that. However, I do want to get one signed. I don't go the second time without one, but because if they're not even willing to sign one when there's like nothing at risk, then I feel like that's usually a red flag, and so I'll just go a different way. As far as the listing agreement, that's all about the listing appointment, and you've got to sell yourself, you got to sell your services, you got to, sell them on, their property and what you can do for their property, the price, all that good stuff. We'd have to kind of get more into kind of like the actual listing presentation. But then at the end of the listing presentation, I say, look, so does that sound like, something that you'd like to get started on your property? And they say, yeah, they either say yes or no, and, or, they've got to think about it. And I say, well, great. Here's the next step. I say, we can get this paperwork signed while I'm here. I'll always have the paperwork printed out with me and a pen ready to go. And I say, look, sign here. And that way I can get my team on it. We'll start getting everything going, all the professional photos taken, start writing up the listing descriptions, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how I handle that. And if they need to think about it, I try to push them one more time by saying like, hey, I understand you got to think about it. Is there anything specific that you guys need to think about, or, that you still have further questions about that I can answer while I'm still here? And then if they say, well, no, whatever, I'll say, well, great. Well, let's just go ahead and, if you don't mind, like we can get started. And again, and I say the same thing for the listing agreement. If you guys need to cancel at any point in time, you don't owe me a thing, and we can move our separate ways. No harm, no foul, right? And so I just really try and take the edge off and get them to sign. And if they're still not willing to sign, and I've already went back, I tried a second time, then I just say, okay, no problem. Think about it, and we go from there. So hopefully that is helpful. All right, so now we got enough people back on the call here. I'm going to go ahead and go back into this channel. Let me see here. Let's do a little screen share. There we are. All right. Back to Mr. Bryce Greenleaf here. Let's go ahead and grab, let's see, one of these videos that he's got. And I'm not going to so much critique his actual content, because it would be hard for you guys to see, how it sounds and all that. I don't know if the sound comes through too well on here. Overall, I can say like at the beginning, it does look, it's, pretty decent. I'd say it's, pretty good. It's talking head style. It's edited. He's got like a little intro. Camera's good quality. So in general, he's even got some B-roll thrown into some of these. So the videos look like they're pretty well produced. So, time-wise, they're 16 minutes. I think that's fine for most, videos. Here, I would say, as far as titles go, top Redmond, Washington neighborhoods, where to live in Redmond, Washington. That seems like, he's obviously going for search there. So he has done his keyword research. And I would imagine, if you were to search up in the search bar, that is how people are searching, for that particular neighborhood, those two ways. So that seems like it's okay. If we look over at his tags and we click on show rankings, so it looks like he's ranking number 1 for top Redmond, Washington neighborhoods. So that search, if somebody was to search that, his video comes up number 1. So that's good. Where to live in Redmond, Washington. His video comes up number 4. Moving to Redmond, number 5. So, I mean, he's ranking on a lot of these different tags that he's going after. So that's, first and foremost, that's important that he's got his tags set up. I see a lot of people who don't tag their videos, and that's a huge missed opportunity. I think you definitely need to be tagging your videos. The one thing that I will see here, okay, so yeah, it looks like he puts his call to action at the top of his description. Typically, and I mean, I haven't like split tested this, to know for sure, but most of the time what, YouTube says and for SEO purposes on YouTube, they say that, the top part of your text carries more weight in your description as far as like when somebody was to search for, something specifically on YouTube. If you put this down at the bottom, YouTube doesn't know more, they're not going to rank it as high as if this same text was up at the top and his call to action was moved down below. But I mean, I get why he wants his call to action up at the top. So that way, people, as they're watching the video, they can see, okay, look, I can call this guy right now, and go from there. But I think most of the time, if, they're going to click on, if they're interested, they're going to click on this, show more anyways. But you can see like the purpose of him doing that is he wants it to say, contact me here. And then the down, people pointing down. So then you click show more. And then that's when all this stuff comes up, right? So it's not a bad tactic. It's just that, as you can see, most of the SEO text is at the bottom, which it doesn't seem, especially for something like this where it's that niche, like he probably doesn't have that much competition. But if it was like a very competitive term that he was going after, you might need to place those keywords higher up in your description. But down at the bottom, the thing I will say here is that he's got his timestamps, which is really good, because if you have those timestamps down below, then that's how you create these chapters as you're watching the videos here. So you can see there where you've got, the different chapters kind of set up in there. I think that's great. Quality, looks like he's got up to 1080p. He's not doing 4K, but I'm sure that's fine. 1080p is usually more than enough. 4K is kind of overkill. Let's see, what else? I think as far as that goes, he's got a pinned comment. I mean, literally, the guy's doing everything right, as far as what to do for your YouTube channel. He's got, multiple ways that you can contact him. You can either call him or text him. You can email him. And you can fill out a form directly, right? So basically it says this is his main call to action, outside of course, giving you his contact info. But if you click this form, let's check out where that goes. It takes you over to a dream home questionnaire. Interesting. Okay. So it looks like he's getting you to fill out this is basically just a Google form. And he's probably collecting all the responses, and then I would assume following up with people. I think, this might be a little bit of a miss. I think one of the things that he could have done is just send them directly to a Calendly, and he could ask all of these same questions on his Calendly booking page. So like if you're not familiar with Calendly, I'll show you here. Like for instance, here's Calendly. So you'd set it here. So you're basically, his call to action could be like, hey, set up a free consultation, free buyer or seller consultation with me today, right? And then they come here, they look at what times he's available, they pick one, and then he could have that same form right here, where he asks, he wouldn't need to ask their email or their name because that'll already be built into the form. You have to have that to be able to set up a Calendly. But then he could add questions for, where, when are you planning to move? Tell us about your ideal living situation when you move here, and where are you in the process? I would just do it straight through Calendly. That way it's like one less step, because now he's going to collect all these forms. Then he has to call and, try and connect with the person and get them to set up an appointment. Whereas people just want to be on demand. They want to be able to go and set things up on their own. And so I think that, that might be a potential opportunity. But then also he has a download my free Seattle Metro relocation guide here, which is awesome. This is probably just how he's collecting email addresses. So this is like a soft close. So like, obviously this is like the main thing you want. You want appointments. You want people to set up something on your calendar, ideally. But, for those that aren't maybe ready to do that, this is a great way to at least just capture their email and or phone number and get this relocation guide. And to be honest, I mean, I might even take off phone number on this one, because I mean, if somebody, if they're really just kind of inquiring, they're just kind of getting the process starting, asking for the phone number may not be, the necessary at this point. Just getting them to join your email list, there's a lot of power in that, because from here, once you have their email, you can continually add value to this person by emailing them whenever you release a new video. If you've got any kind of additional helpful pieces of content, you can send that out. But then also, because he is sending this person to an actual website of his, and it looks like he does implement it, you can see up here, he's got a Facebook pixel installed. So now, he can retarget them. So he can hit them up in their email inbox, and he can retarget them on Facebook with, additional ads. And so, the benefit of that is now somebody who had visited his YouTube channel, and then, maybe they came here to his thing, and even if they don't submit this form, he can now retarget that person on Facebook, because he's got his pixel installed, and he's going to start showing up everywhere. So then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the guy we want to work with, because he's obviously all over the internet. We see his face in his videos. They're going to see his Facebook profile, potentially Instagram if he wants to, you retarget him there on Instagram as well. And so, I mean, really, this is kind of, what you want to see from a YouTube channel. Let me see if I just look at a couple of these other videos. So this second video, let's see what this one is. Don't move to Seattle, Washington in 2022. Every Seattle suburb explained. So that's an interesting title. It's kind of going for that like clickbaity feel, right? Like people will be like, why would you say don't move to Seattle? But obviously he's wanting people to move to Seattle, right? And so if you can see here though, what he's actually ranking for is Seattle suburbs explained, Seattle, Washington suburb. So mainly it's about like suburbs. Like, so I don't know if necessarily like that whole don't move to Seattle would be necessary. I think maybe you could do a title that, has more to do with the Seattle suburbs explained, because, obviously he's already ranking. He's not number one here for Seattle, Washington suburb, but, but maybe if he changed that up, he could start getting a little bit higher. But I still don't. It's one of those things that the cool thing about having TubeBuddy, which that's basically what this is right here, is when you do TubeBuddy, there's actually a cool way that you can go into your videos, and I'll show you here. So like if I open up, hold on, actually, go back over here. Just go to my channel and go to TubeBuddy. Let's see here. There is, go to website tools, go to A/B tests. Let me sign in real quick. So I actually do a bunch of A/B split tests, and you can split test your thumbnail and you can split test your titles. And basically what that does is like one day, YouTube will show this thumbnail, and then the next day it'll show a different thumbnail. And basically it analyzes the statistics that were, for each one. And then after it's gotten so much data, it'll say like, based on the data we've received, this thumbnail outperforms this thumbnail 2-to-1 or, 3-to-1 or something, right? And if it's something that drastic, you're like, okay, cool. I definitely am going to go with the one that works better. But you can see here, like, let me go to one of these. So like here was one, 11 effective. So this one I was split testing the title, right? 11 effective real estate negotiation strategies, close more deals and represent your clients well. That was the original title. Then the variation was 11 magic real estate negotiation tips to win more deals in 2022. And surprisingly, the variation performed way more poorly, right? So like basically what it does is it showed the original title to 607 people, and 32 clicked it. And it showed the variation to 627 people, and only 17 people clicked it. So it showed it to more people and less people clicked, right? So, I mean, you can see here that, it outperformed your variation by almost double. And so, I mean, from that standpoint, then basically at this point, it's going to automatically stop showing the variation, and it's just going to go with the original title. And you can do that same thing for thumbnails. So for instance, let me see here if I've got one where I was testing a thumbnail recently. Go to completed. Yeah, here we go. Here's where you like test thumbnails, right? So like for instance, I mean, check this out. Here was the first one, here was the second one, and the original out of 166 impressions only had 1 click. The variation had 5 clicks on 159, right? So a lot more higher click through. And so, anyways, I think that having something where you can test stuff like that is really important. TubeBuddy's not super expensive. I think it's like they have some free plans, but you also have plans that you can spend like $20, $30, and get something there. So yeah, let's see here. I'm looking at the comments. All right, cool. If there's anybody that wants me to check out their channel, I'm happy to do so. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up another one. Let's see. Give me another city. Let's see. Let's go ahead and say Orlando, Florida. Let's see what comes up here. If there's anybody. Let's see. Here's a channel living in Orlando, Florida.
All right, so you're thinking about moving to Orlando.
All right, so let's go ahead and check this channel out. So 2,300 subscribers, 66 videos. Pretty good so far. Last 30 days, 2 videos. Not terrible. I mean, ideally you'd like to at least be at about a video per week. But who knows what's going on here as far as maybe they're busy doing other stuff. But you can see, so they do have their playlist set up, on their main home channel here. So they got their main uploads, but then they've got popular uploads, living in Orlando, selling your home. And then they've got it broken down into different segments of the city. So that's great. New videos weekly to learn about, living in Orlando, Florida. Subscribe. They've got, their deal here. Looks like it's, like it's decent enough. Looks like it's a couple here, 2 people. I don't know if they're husband, wife, or just a team, but typically what would be nice. Let me see.
Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, it looks like she's got her little trailer video here for new visitors. And this is where you can use this as, to explain a little bit about yourself and your business. This is like a 20-minute video, so it's quite long. There's really 2 strategies you can do here. You can either make like a short video, 3 to 5 minutes, that just talks a little bit about you, about your channel, what you hope to provide to, the people watching your channel, and, have a call to action in there. Or you could obviously just also put on your very best performing video, the video that most people like to watch. You can put that there, and obviously if somebody likes to watch that video, they might start to watch more of your videos. So it looks like she's doing the latter suggestion. She's probably got a good performing video as her main video there. But now let's go ahead and take a look at just some of her videos. So it looks like here you can tell that, yeah, I mean, thumbnails, again, pretty basic thumbnails. I'm sure, she's probably making them herself. I don't think you really would need like a graphic designer to do these types of thumbnails. Very easy to do them in Canva. I don't know that the branding, like it looks like her brand is yellow. I guess, it does it looks like it's a different yellow maybe in that header up top. Overall though, I mean, the branding might be able to be a little bit better. But at least there's some cohesiveness. It's not completely out there. But let's go ahead and click on a video. And let's go ahead and take a look here at what it says here. So let's show her search rankings. So she's ranking on Orlando, Florida. This is the number 2 video right now for Orlando, Florida. That's pretty awesome. I'm sure there's a lot of people searching Orlando, Florida. Living in Orlando, Florida, number 3 video. So she's, so this video ranks pretty well. It's got 716 views, which, I mean, it's, only 4 days old, so it's not bad. But let's go ahead and look and see what she's got going on here. So she has got, she's got just some text up at the top. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like, so this is searching for the best place to live in Orlando, Florida. How to find the perfect area. So, pretty generalized. It's not like a specific neighborhood or anything like that, just a general overview of Orlando. But then let's see here. So her call to actions for those that are watching this video is they can go follow her on Instagram. They can, it looks like, just maybe give this video a like, subscribe to the channel by clicking on this link. I don't like these bit.ly links. I think that, that people don't like to click them just because they don't know where it goes or what it does. It's pretty easy enough just to go get like a service like Rebrandly, and you can rebrand all of your links on here so they have like a cohesiveness. So for instance, like all of my links, kylehandy.link. I can have whatever I want, ClickFunnels, I've got a couple different ones, but for my dream team and for just my personal brand. But, having personally branded links, I think are important. And I only pay like $19 a year, I think, to have this domain here. And then Rebrandly itself, I think you pay, but it's not, a ton more, but it's going to definitely be a lot better than some of just those generic bit.ly links. And so I would recommend changing those out. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I notice is it doesn't look, yeah, she doesn't have like a main call to action, like to somehow work with her right away, right? So, I mean, yeah, of course, somebody can call her or text her. But I think that's a big miss. I think that, having that Calendly link be like your front and center, main call to action, I think that's, your best opportunity there. And so it looks like, you can't even do that. Like if I was just to copy and paste this link, her website here into my page or into my browser, you can see here that it looks like, yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a good website. So you can join your email list, which I don't know what, it doesn't really, just to say, stay up to date on our upcoming events. That's not really a strong call to action. I wouldn't probably sign up because of that. Meet, services, contact us. So nothing says anything like, get a free consultation, like, like find out the value of your house, or, see how we help buyers, or any of those types of things. And so, I mean, I think that, you obviously are doing well with the traffic. Like she's got, good traffic, I'm sure, coming to her channel. What did it say? 16,000 views in the last
All right, so you're
30
thinking about
days.
moving to
Yeah.
Orlando,
I mean, look at
Florida.
that, 16, almost 17,000 views in the last 30 days. And, she's missing a lot of people that would be willing to book with her right away if it was just available, right? Because a lot of people, they don't want to call, they might not want to do a phone call. They might not want to text you. And they might not want to email you, right? But they will book an appointment. It's really strange. They'll go on your Calendly, they'll book an appointment. And, but if you're not giving them an option to do that, you're definitely missing a decent size of your audience there that you might be able to work with sooner. So that being said, I think that's a miss. I think also having that
All
freebie,
right, so you're
like
thinking about
having something that you give away, like, click here for, my free Orlando home buyer guide or home sellers guide or whatever, right? Give something away for free, essentially where you just are asking for an email address. I think that's another opportunity. And then lastly, it does look like she does have a Facebook pixel installed on this website. It looks like there's some kind of an error going on though. It says the Facebook pixel activated 2 times on this web page, which can cause errors in your event tracking. It's not going to cause you to be able to not retarget them, but you might want to look at what's going on there. But yeah, other than that, that's, kind of all that I really see. I mean, it looks like a lot of these videos, let's see what your best videos is. Most popular, 10,000 views, 10 worst cities to live in the Orlando metro area, pros and cons. Pros and cons videos are great. I mean, that's usually the ones that will perform the best, is pros and cons of living in your market. So if you haven't created that video yet, a YouTube video, put that as like your first one, pros and cons of living in wherever you're from, right? She's got like a little vlog that, kind of gives people a little bit of her personality. Moving to Orlando. See, like all these are all, the search terms that you want to go after, because that's how people search for stuff. They'll put, moving to Orlando, Florida, and they just want to see what it's like to move there. So, I mean, that's a great searchable term. The 10 worst cities to live in the Orlando metro area. Obviously, I think, let's see what
All right, everybody.
let's see what she is ranking for that. So she's, of course, ranking for the exact title, which is 10 worst cities to live in Orlando metro area, which honestly, I mean, that is, I can see people searching for that, right? Like if you're considering moving to the city and you don't know what areas are good, what areas are bad, knowing what areas are bad, like as far as like what areas not to move in, can be just as powerful as knowing what areas to move in. So I'm sure people do search for that. Obviously, they are, because this has got a ton of views, 10,800 views, And it's not like she's ranking for some other search term. Literally, the main one she's ranking for is worst cities. So, keep that in mind. You could definitely do something like that if you're in a big city and you want to, kind of point out some of the metros or some of the neighborhoods that, you people don't want to live in. And then just make sure when you do those types of videos, of course, you got to make sure you're abiding by like fair housing laws. You're not like, saying anything that you shouldn't be saying. So you can get real, into a sticky situation if you aren't careful with your words and why you're choosing certain areas and stuff like that. So just be careful from that standpoint. But yeah, I mean, literally, you can see here another pros and cons video. So she did one a year ago and had 9,100 views. Has another pros and cons video that she did 7 months ago and has 6,100 views. Something about new construction. So those are always a good video to do too, where you give a general overview of the top, new construction areas, neighborhoods, all that kind of stuff in your area. Suburbs to live in. Yeah, so that's pretty good there. One of the things that you can do, because it looks like we're getting a little close to the time as far as, I'll go ahead and sign off here in about 10 minutes. But if you don't already have a copy of this, go over to my page here and go to, let's see, actually just do kylehandy.com, YouTube. And any of these, like how to start a YouTube channel in 2022, if you go to this page, you can download your free 100 real estate YouTube video idea swipe file. And all you got to do is put your email address in there. And what this is, I'll go ahead and show you it to you. So when you do that, it's going to take you here. And I'll pull up the email for you that you get. Let's see. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh, I think here, let me go to WordPress. I just want you to see what you get when it sends to you. Because I think this is a really powerful tool if you're trying to plan out your strategy for YouTube videos. So for instance, here you go. 100 real estate YouTube. This is what you're going to get if you go to that page there. It's going to give you all the different ideas from, like, I've looked at a bunch of different, city YouTube channels, and these are all kind of the most common ones that do well. And so, but it's all boiled down into like a list. So you could literally just knock out videos, for the next few weeks of just knocking these videos out. And this is all, I mean, if you'd made all 100 of these videos, your channel would be definitely doing well here very quickly. But, moving to San Antonio, Texas, how much does it really cost to live in San Antonio, Texas? Top 5 pros and cons of moving to San Antonio, Texas. Searching where to live in San Antonio, Texas. 15 things you must know when living in San Antonio, Texas. So, I mean, and you can, do the same thing for inserting a large neighborhood. So anyways, you can kind of see, I mean, I got all sorts of stuff, free things to do in San Antonio. Because here's the other part that I think, this is where I don't think a lot of realtors are capitalizing on this much just yet. I think realtors are definitely starting to catch on with like doing the videos that are like this, where it's like pros and cons of moving to your city. But the other part, and this is a little bit maybe a like longer term plan, is going after people who may not even be searching for real estate just yet, but there is a lot of people that are searching for terms such as this, best San Antonio parks, right? And so, best, or that you probably, I mean, you can do that one, best San Antonio realtors, but that's not what I'm talking about here. But something like this, things to do with kids in San Antonio, right? So like these aren't necessarily people that are going to be actively searching for real estate right now, but these videos will do very well because there's not a lot of people that have done them yet. And if you can actually truly provide helpful insights to your audience, they're going to be like, wow, this is a realtor that's, doing all of this. They're, giving me these tips. They obviously know the city very well. Maybe I will keep this person in mind, or maybe I'll go sign up for his free home buyer guide. I'll give him my email address. Right. And then as you're starting to continually build that relationship with the person, whether it be through retargeting, whether it be through, emailing them on your email list, eventually when they're ready, or if they're telling their friends at work, like, hey, I've been watching this guy's YouTube channel. He sounds like he'd be a great realtor. Maybe you should give him a check, check him out. And that's how, this stuff can get really powerful. But and a lot of those videos are fairly easy to make, especially if you live in your area and you've lived there for some time. You'll know about, the weather and climate in your city, right? So I mean, you could easily do a video about that. And if you don't, if you're new to the area, then it just gives you more reason to go out there and start to really investigate your area. Like, go and actually experience some of these things. Go take a day and, go to some of the different parks and check them out, right? And get a little B-roll out there while you're out there. Take some video just with your phone, so that way at least you can clip in some stuff as you're, actually recording these videos and doing the talking head part of it. So yeah, but I mean, I think, if you could, top museums in your city, right? So like, do some of these types of things and do them in conjunction with, the more popular ones that are, of course, like the, pros and cons and stuff like that. But also, think of all these other opportunities where you can catch people before they even know that they're ready to buy a home. So anyways, guys, that I think is going to do it. I'm looking here. Just let me check over the chat real quick and see if I missed anything. Let's see. Love this tip for having more options. How do you fit your consultation times into your daily calendar? Are they always set? Okay, let me add this to the deal here. Yeah. So, oops, just lost it. Here we go. So basically, how do I fit these consultation times in? I mean, if you've not used Calendly, I'd highly recommend just go check it out. It's free to get started. You don't know, even for most people, you'll never have to pay because their free account is pretty robust. And so you can go get a free Calendly. You hook up your calendar to it, and then basically what it does is it reads what's on your calendar, and it will not let people book times that you already have something else on your calendar. And you can also set parameters. Like, if you don't want people setting appointments at 7 o'clock at night, even though you might not have anything going on at 7 o'clock at night, you can set parameters and say, look, I only want to be available for appointments from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon, and that way your afternoon is free. You might say, I only want to be able to be on appointments on, Zoom appointments from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right? Because these consultations that I'm doing, when I would offer a consultation, I'm not talking about in person. So I'm not driving anywhere. They're all via Zoom. So like, I can do a listing consultation via Zoom, and I can do a buyer consultation via Zoom. In fact, I've got a listing consultation at 7 o'clock tonight via Zoom. And so, basically I give them a free valuation of their property. One of my whole things is like, hey, don't go with the Zillow valuations. Don't go with like automated valuations that you see on people's websites. I'll give you a free custom evaluation of your property. Obviously it doesn't cost me anything. It just takes maybe 30 minutes of my time to hop on Zoom with the person. I pull up the comps right in front of them. I show them what things have sold for. I obviously haven't seen their property, physically, but I kind of ask them based on some of the pictures that we go over with comps in their area. Like, hey, how does your home compare to this one? Like, does it have anything in addition to it? Does it have, is it not as nice, right? Where would it go on the scale? And so we come up with a reasonable valuation for the property. So that's what I do for listings. And then on the buyer side, it's mostly just about like the buyer process, like explaining how it works, kind of finding out a little bit about what they're looking for, what types of properties, what types of home that they are. And then I'll even go into the MLS once I know a little bit about what they're looking for. And I'll put the parameters into the MLS, and I say, all right, cool. Based on what you told me, like, this is what would be available if we were going to buy a house today, and do any of these stand out to you? But then also, that's a good time to be able to see, like, are they realistic? Like, is what they're asking for even possible with our market, right? And because like, then we can get really, pretty real really quick, to know like, hey, you're either gonna have to up your budget, or we're gonna have to give, somewhere that's gonna have to give, right? So, but anyways, yeah, with Calendly, you can set all of those different parameters and only allow people to book when you're available and during the times that you wish to be available. Like, so for instance, my calendar, when people can book with me, only allows people to book in the mornings, because I like my afternoons to be free. Like, I usually will do different things. Sometimes I still work in the afternoon, but I may not want to have to be, on standby for appointments or whatever. And then the other thing that you can do with Calendly is you can set it up to where they have to have a 24-hour notice to be able to book an appointment. So it's not like same day on the fly, you're gonna be like, oh, now I've got an appointment in 2 hours. Usually, it's they book the day before minimum. And so you know what you've got, the next day, so that we can kind of plan your day around it. All right. Let's see. We got Justine. She says, love this tip for having more options. How do you fit your consultation times into? Oh, I think that was the one I just answered. Okay, cool. Are they always set or do you change them daily? Yeah, I mean, they're always set. So I haven't changed my Calendly times at all. So, I mean, once I figured out like how I was going to do it, basically, it allows people to book in the morning from 8 to noon, Monday through Friday, unless if I've got something in the morning, like let's say, for instance, this call, the live call that I've got, I put this on my calendar, on my Google Calendar. And so then it will show on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock Central, Kyle is not available, right? Because that calendar event already takes precedence, even though it was during my normal times. So like it'll allow you to go with whatever your parameters are, minus if there's any special events that you've got in those times, it'll take them out of your Calendly. So I hope that makes sense. All right. Well, cool, guys. Well, that does it for today's call. If you, again, we're watching this, if you got some value out of it, make sure to give this video a like, hit that thumbs up button if you're on YouTube, and give it a like if you're on Facebook. And then also, if you are watching this on the replay, definitely go ahead and leave a comment in there, because we will get into any comments that you leave for this week. I'll start with those for next week. And I think if you liked this format where I did like a little bit of like a review over some YouTube channels, let me know if you liked this, because I can do this not only for some more YouTube channels, but I also could do this on the blogging side and looking at people's content that they're creating on a blog, just looking at their website in general, how it's set up, and giving you some of the feedback that I see from that standpoint. So if that was helpful, let me know, put it in the comments, and we'll go from there. But so great seeing everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today.